Hey everyone, welcome back. So Mia Paulus here. So today we're going to talk about how the business world is changing and how it will affect you. So the world of business is changing rapidly. We all know it, we all feel it happening, but it's tough to understand exactly how it's changing and more importantly, how it's going to affect our businesses. So in this video, I want to outline some of the key changes that are happening and suggest ways to capitalize on new opportunities and ways that we can protect our companies from some of the upcoming challenges. So let's go ahead and take a look. So not only is the business world changing, but like human nature is changing a little bit right now. Some other videos I've talked about like the great unsettling and how people are in this weird spot where they really don't know who they are. You know, they're trying to figure it all out. And so we're seeing a lot of that shift, that movement. Like we're hiring employees, like during COVID, it was a lot tougher. Now it's easier to hire again. So I think people are getting back into the workforce, but people are looking for different things with the companies they work for. It's just a lot of mess going on. COVID also changed like what's important to people. I think as us as business owners, it's different too. There's just so many things that are shifting and adapting. So the way my brain works is I like to just look at all the things that are happening out there and try to find patterns, and I try to put them together. So in this video, that's really what I want to do, is show you the things that I'm seeing as trends and hopefully be able to see how you might be able to capitalize on it and be able to, maybe that's something that you want to do with your business. Okay, so the first one that I'm noticing is that people are looking for more simple businesses. So it's interesting, there's a lot of white labeled software companies that I'm seeing a lot of marketing agencies use. I think one's like Vendesta, and then there's another one called Go High Level. And it's like they literally are marketing to agencies. So people are actually white labeling these softwares as almost their own. Like, hey, I have this beefed up backend software and we can run your KPIs and your business intelligence and a lot of different things. And so that really is one way to create a really simple business model, because you're not having to do obviously the software development and the improvements, but it's also customizable to a degree to help fit your vision for your company. And so that's one way of finding softwares out there that you can resell, becoming affiliates of other companies. We have a lot of companies coming to us to be affiliates to resell our services. There's just a lot of opportunities to not have to create a business from the ground up. And I love this new trend because the traditional franchise model is sometimes tricky. There's a big upfront investment. A lot of times you're paying them pretty hefty royalty fees. And a lot of times when I've tried to partner up with some franchises with our services and what we do, they get kind of protective of they know the right way, and they're not really open a lot of times to other ways of doing business and operating. I'm not saying all franchises are that way. You don't have a lot of room to innovate because they have the box that you need to play in, and this is how you do it. So you're really more of an executor. But when you're able to become an affiliate or do a licensing agreement or license some of the software, that's just like the back end. You can still create the front end, which is good because you can then create an offer that aligns with who you are, the business model you want to build. I think it creates a lot of opportunities for businesses to create much more simple businesses without all of the overhead and the costs associated with franchises. Another example of this is I used to always be like, you should never outsource your core product or offering, but there's a trend happening with some of the businesses that are working with us. So a lot of the different marketing and accounting companies, because we do accounting and marketing, they actually are contracting with us to do a lot of their back end work. So we're almost becoming the engine for other companies so they can really just focus on selling and maybe some of the higher level consulting side that they might do, so they can kind of systematize and streamline the back end without having to do all the hiring and the process and the flow related to that. So it's kind of unique and kind of a cool trend that we're seeing in a lot of our client base. So the second one is related to hiring and building a team. So how is the business world changing when it comes to employees? And the biggest thing that I'm seeing is that employees want to be a part of something bigger. I know we've been talking about this for a while as far as this new generation that's coming up, how they're more purpose driven and want to feel called to do something bigger. A lot of times employers haven't adapted to how to work with this type of employee. And so what's happening is they've started micromanaging them. They're like, well, you're not going to like your job, but we're just going to show you how to do it. Like we actually were at a hiring event, and a lot of the people on the panel, we were on there and there was a bunch of other people, and the people on the panel were just saying, well, you just have to be okay not liking your job. And I was like, I don't think that's really going to fly with this younger generation. And as a result, like everybody flocked to our company because of our outlook and how we talk about empowering employees. And employees are hungry for companies that stand out like that. And so you really have an opportunity to capitalize on this, because I can tell you that most businesses aren't adapting to this new way of understanding why they do what they do. Like, what is the purpose of the company, and also what's the purpose of the employee? Everybody comes to work with you for different reasons. Understand what those are. They'll appreciate that you value that. Also, what are the values that you stand on? Like that way you're not being swayed by outside pressure. Like you know what's important to you. And then what's your vision for the company? Because you want to hire people that can get behind your vision and also live true to your values. And so when you're able to do that, you create a culture naturally by being, you intrinsically are. Like I always think of culture as not something that you can't really say. I don't really like the phrase, I have a great culture, because culture is what is a combination of a lot of elements working together. It's all of those pieces, the types of people you hire, the type of person you are, all those foundational things make up the culture that you're trying to build. Let that be known, because that's what's going to attract people to you. And because not a lot of other businesses are getting on board, you can stand out and attract really good talent. And you might think like even people that are doing their own thing, like you might think, well, they just want to work and do their own thing. But like people are hungry for team, they're hungry for connection. And I think you'll be surprised that you can even attract entrepreneurs to work with you that want to be a part of a bigger vision. And those are great employees too, because they're usually innovative and creative and can think outside the box. And so don't discount even hiring solopreneurs that are tired of doing their own thing, that want to help you scale and grow. Because I get asked that question a lot. Well, should I hire an entrepreneur? Isn't that risky? And that's a risk I'm usually willing to take. There's usually a lot of upsides that come with that. And at the end of this video, I'll do a bonus hack on really how you can be able to implement a team fast, and also how to be able to know what phase of business that you're in to help you kind of take advantage of these opportunities that are happening in today's environment to really help you. Before we go into the third piece of why the business world is changing and how that's going to affect you, if you want to see more videos like this, I would love it if you like and subscribe. It also helps the algorithm to be able to get this out to other entrepreneurs, because I really want to solve the problems we all have as entrepreneurs and really get them to know this knowledge so they can have better focus, better clarity on what's important to them. Okay, so the third thing to be aware of in this business climate that we're in is that speed wins. We no longer have the luxury of school of hard knocks, reinventing the wheel, taking a decade to figure out things before we get our product going. Products are moving so fast. Really the first one, especially if you're looking to build a fast company or a big company, really the one that can deliver the value to the customer the quickest will usually win in that marketplace, especially if your offers are really closely aligned. And so just understand that, like, to me, like, be willing to go fast, pivot, shift, adapt. Don't worry about perfection. Don't worry about offending everybody. Like, especially the early phases. I'm like, man, if I could go back in time when I was a young entrepreneur, I would have done more to test and experiment. And I was so concerned about not making a mistake, not being perfect to my customers, that I didn't do enough experimenting. Now, as you get bigger and you get into the growth phase of business, you got to be a little more careful, because there's a lot more people that know about you. And so I always talk about how you need to more focus on customer retention and higher customer value there, because you want to get good reviews out there and good referrals. And so a little more calculated risk then, but in the early days, nobody knows about you. Go take some risks. I wish if I could go back and change anything, it would be that. People have more options today than they had ever before. So again, the one that get the value to the customer the quickest wins. The way to really improve that is to really map out the onboarding process, map out the customer journey. And then you can start to say, okay, this is the journey now. And then here are opportunities we can do to help improve that customer journey. I can't believe how many times I still call local people and the phone still goes to voicemail. Like, telephone answering service companies have been around for so long. Like, you don't need to be answering your own phones. Things like that just can help you not have to do it all and really move faster. If you're not having to build all the different components of your team and you can focus on the 20% that's your core, how much faster can you win? So again, speed wins in today's business climate. Like I said, most businesses haven't adapted to this. Like, calls are still going to voicemail. People aren't really focused on the customer journey, the whole customer experience. Customers want to interact with you the way they want to interact. Like, all of these things are super critical to be able to stand out and become this successful, sustainable company that I'm determined to help those serious entrepreneurs that want to get there. So I told you about a bonus I would tell you at the end. So if you're interested in learning more about kind of the team sourcing concept and how you can actually outsource different components to 7 different departments, you're not having to go and build all those different departments in-house. You can actually go to discoverteamsourcing.com and you can learn about our team sourcing model and how that can help you. Also, if you're looking to diagnose kind of what phase of business you're in and what's important in that phase, you can go and take a free assessment. It's theimpactequation.com, and it's a great way to kind of get started, kind of really understand where you're at, where you need to go, and be aware of what's coming up and ahead of you, so you can spot those potential speed bumps and roadblocks that might be approaching. So again, you can go to theimpactequation.com and get that free assessment.